tactfully suggested that he address the issue with his insurance company. As the customer departed in a huff, he gave the elevator door a few forceful knocks before it slid shut. However, the truth remained unchanged. It was not our curb that had moved of its own accord. When I was 10, my father threw all my toys out without telling me in order to teach me that I am no longer a baby. The only lesson he taught me is that he is a mean person who doesn't care about my needs and thoughts. He didn't tell me prior to doing that what his intent was. At the age of 10, my father carried out a drastic measure to illustrate a harsh reality. I was no longer a child in need of care and protection. However, instead of imparting a valuable lesson, his actions left a lasting impression of him as a cold, uncaring individual who disregarded my feelings and well-being. What made his approach even more disheartening was the abrupt manner in which he discarded my treasured possessions. Without any prior warning or consideration, he unceremoniously cast aside my entire collection of toys, leaving me with no opportunity to choose which items to keep or let go of. The toys sat idle, discarded and forgotten, awaiting their fate outside the house, a poignant reminder of the harsh lesson I was supposed to learn. As I stood helplessly by, I was overcome with heartache, my attachment to the few belongings I had grown to cherish now cruelly exploited. Anyone else feel like you can't be yourself around your narc parent? If I make a joke, it's not funny or it's taken literally. If I make a mistake, it's the end of the world. Anything I say can and will be used against me in the future. Possibly even years later. Living with a narcissistic parent. The weight of constant criticism being around a parent with narcissistic tendencies can leave you feeling stifled and uncertain. Their critical nature often makes it difficult to express yourself freely, as every attempt at humor, wit, or playfulness is met with dismissal or misinterpretation. Their expectations are impossibly high, and the slightest misstep is viewed as catastrophic, leaving you walking on eggshells. Their propensity for manipulation and gaslighting can be particularly damaging, where even innocent comments can be twisted and used against you at a later date. This constant sense of unease can make it challenging to form genuine connections or express your thoughts and feelings without fear of repercussions. When you try to indulge in life's simple pleasures, you're met with skepticism and criticism, as if your enjoyment is somehow undeserved. The constant barrage of negative comments can erode your self-worth, making it difficult to assert your needs and desires without being judged. Trying to stand up for yourself in the face of criticism can be met with accusations of being rebellious or ungrateful. Their response to your emotions is often to tell you to toughen up, or get on with life, leaving you feeling unheard and unsupported. I'll let the auction run. I'm not sure if this is malicious compliance, but I think it does fit here. A few days ago I messaged a guy who was selling a car on an auction website. I offered him $150. He said he will let the auction run. The auction had no reserve and nobody else. Letting the auction play out. I'm not sure if I'm engaging in a form of passive-aggressive behavior, but it seems like a fitting situation. A short while ago, I sent a message to a seller who had a car listed on an auction site. I offered him $150, and he replied that he'd let the auction proceed as scheduled. The auction had no minimum price requirement and there were no other interested bidders. At the time, it was priced at $2.50, and it was about to close, so I increased my bid to $10, largely out of a sense of guilt. The car has several major issues, but I believe I can fix them, and it should still meet my needs. Update: this story has been edited for better clarity. TLDR: a seller let an auction run despite the low bid, and I bumped my offer to $10, feeling somewhat guilty. I just want a guy to finish in me. I'm married, husband is disabled and has ED on top of that. He can't keep an erection to save his life. He can barely get hard enough to get inside me, let alone actually get some action in or finish. He also doesn't like to use toys on me nor. It's been a long time since I've experienced the intimacy I crave. My situation is complicated, as I'm in a marriage with a husband who faces multiple health challenges. His disability makes it difficult for him to achieve an erection, and he struggles with erectile dysfunction on top of that. Even when he does manage to get hard enough for penetration, our intimacy is limited. He's not interested in using sex toys or ensuring my satisfaction, and my ability to achieve orgasm is a rare occurrence. Occasionally, I can help him reach a climax through manual stimulation, but that's the extent of our physical connection. I long for a deeper and more fulfilling relationship, one where I feel desired and loved. Lately, I've been yearning for the sensation of a man's body inside mine, for the feeling of being fully connected and loved. It's been an extended period since I've experienced that kind of intimacy. TLDR: married woman seeking intimacy with a partner who can provide physical connection and satisfaction. Ndad died last week and listed me as his estranged daughter in his obituary. Seriously, who does that in a published obituary? It's so awful how one of his last acts on earth was something designed to hurt me and sustain, rather than heal, the rift in our family. It was clear. A painful revelation unfolded last week with the passing of Ndad, whose final gesture was a stark declaration of estrangement. His obituary publicly listed me as his estranged daughter, a label that serves as a poignant reminder of the depth of our family's discord. It is hardly surprising that someone would resort to such a hurtful tactic in a public setting, yet it's still jarring to acknowledge that one of Ndad's last actions was intended to perpetuate the very rift he had helped create. His obituary was a testament to the complicated and often tumultuous relationship we shared. A closer examination of the obituary revealed that Ndad had written it himself before his passing, a decision that raises questions about the family's role in editing and revising his words. The result was an obituary that was both meandering and boastful, a fitting reflection of the man who penned it. Tonight, I am substance-free for the first time, and I don't even remember no weed, no alcohol, not even a cigarette. From waking up this morning until right this second, I have not touched any of it. And I'm getting ready to drift off to sleep. Onwards to day 2. Edit. This evening marks the beginning of a new chapter, one in which I've successfully avoided substances for as long as I can recall. No intoxicating substances, be it cannabis, liquor, or even a cigarette, have crossed my path since waking up this morning. As I prepare for a restful night's sleep, my thoughts are already turning to the challenges of tomorrow. Edit. I woke up to a flood of kind, uplifting comments from you all, and my eyes welled up with tears. Your generosity and support mean the world to me, and I'm filled with renewed determination to see this through. Your words have touched the heart of an internet stranger like me. Equipment order turns Dr. Seuss user. Can I also have the locking station, so I can secure it at my desk? Me, by locking station, did you mean locking docking station? User. Yes, me, I have heard of laptop locks, and laptop docks, so a locking dock. The order enthusiasm of Mr. Flibberflabber in the land of paperwork and office delight. A customer's request caught my sight. He asked for a station to lock with care, to keep his equipment safe, without a single snare. I'd like a locking station, he said with a grin, to keep my gear secure, right at my desk within. I pondered his words with a curious ear. By locking station, do you mean locking docking station, my dear? Yes, that's exactly what I mean, he replied with glee, a locking dock for laptops, where they can lock and be free. I thought for a moment, with a twinkle in my eye, and said, I think such a thing may exist, but it's hard to find in the supply. A docking laptop with lock, you see, I said with a frown, might not be in stock, but don't worry, it can be found. I'll add it to the order, with a note to the crew, please fetch this item, it'll take 3 to 5 days to get it through. The customer beamed with joy at the news. So bright, great, he and father was being an asshole in line while complaining and insulting the cashier. She sure don't like her job. And no missing a beat, I went out loud, well, if I had a customer like you I sure wouldn't like my job. And he got pissed and left me alone in line and went elsewhere. LMA. A particularly irksome customer in front of me was venting his frustrations to the cashier, making some rather disparaging remarks about her. I couldn't resist chiming in with a witty retort, saying, I'd lose my patience too if I had to deal with a customer like you. The man's face turned beet red as he stormed off, leaving me to finish my transaction in peace. Initially, his outburst gave me a slight jolt of unease, but I took a deep breath and focused on a more positive thought. The cashier wouldn't have to put up with his behavior. I let out a quiet smile, feeling a sense of solidarity with the cashier, who, like me, works in retail and knows the challenges that come with the job. Edit. I added a title to make the post more readable. When mom asks for cold water bottles, you comply. I am the mom in question, and twice this week I had come out of my home office to get a water bottle from the fridge only to find out that all the cold water was gone. I fussed at the kids a little bit and told them that if they complying with mom's requests is a top priority. I am the mom, and twice this past week, I ventured out of my home office to grab a chilled water bottle from the refrigerator. However, upon reaching the fridge, I discovered that all the cold water had been depleted. In response, I gently reprimanded the kids, instructing them that if they consumed the last bottle, they would need to replenish the supply. As a result, they took immediate action and filled every available space in the refrigerator with not one, but 3 entire cases of water. Edit. This story showcases the amusing consequences of following instructions to the letter, specifically when those instructions come from a parent. TLDR: a mom asked her kids to refill the fridge after they drank the last cold water bottle. The kids took her request seriously, filling the fridge with an excessive amount of water. Husband sexting 17. Yo, I just found out my husband 25 has been texting and sexting a 17. Yo. I messaged her not knowing her age, and I was hurting for her when she told me. She was unaware he was married, or that we had children. He met her on a dating app. I found his profile in Discovering infidelity with a minor. I recently uncovered a devastating truth about my husband, a 25-year-old father to 3 young children. His actions have left me feeling ill and disturbed. It appears he has been exchanging flirtatious messages and intimate texts with a 17-year-old girl, whom he met on a dating app. Prior to confronting the situation, I messaged her in the hopes of helping her realize the potential danger she was in, but in her response, she shared with me that she was unaware of my husband's marital status and the presence of our children. Furthermore, I discovered that my husband's dating profile displayed his age as 22, whereas he had claimed to be 20 to the teenager. I'm grappling with the overwhelming emotion of this revelation, and I'm unsure of where to begin. Our children are just 5 years old, 2 years old, and 8 weeks old, and the thought of continuing a marriage tainted by such despicable behavior is unbearable. It's clear that this relationship cannot continue as it is now, and I'm struggling to find the strength to start making the necessary steps towards moving forward. My husband remains oblivious to my knowledge, but it's only a matter of time before I address this issue. My rapist messaged me. I am 37 was sawed in 2022 by a grindr fling. It was serious and needed medical intervention. For months afterwards the guy would message my phone, Snapchat, Insta, and even found me on Facebook. After pressure from people in my life that I needed to get myself a stalker's message. I'm 37 and was assaulted in 2022 by someone I met through Grindr, a serious incident that required medical attention. Following the attack, the perpetrator continued to harass me, sending messages to my phone, Snapchat, Instagram, and even discovering my Facebook profile. As time passed and loved ones encouraged me to move forward, I decided to try reconnecting with others. 2 nights ago, I created a new Grindr account, taking precautions to remain anonymous by not sharing a picture or any personal details. However, my efforts to evade him were futile, as the second person to message me was the same individual who had assaulted me. His message was chilling. "Hey sexy, do you remember me? We had an incredible time, and it was truly unforgettable." I immediately deleted the account, but the experience triggered a PTSD relapse, leaving me reeling ever since. TLDR: a 37-year-old was assaulted on Grindr and continues to experience PTSD, but a recent encounter with the perpetrator on a new account has triggered a severe relapse. Update: the individual in this story would like to emphasize the importance of prioritizing safety and seeking support when dealing with traumatic experiences. If you or someone you know is affected by told my dad I'm moving out soon. He told me I'm not allowed to leave and even said he will call the cops on me if I tried. I'm 19. This is so ridiculous. I am an adult. He even tried to guilt me and say that my mom, my sisters and him would suffer if I leave. My two sis. Recently I informed my father that I plan to move out in the near future. His response was far from encouraging. He insisted that I am not permitted to leave and even went so far as to threaten to call the authorities if I attempted to do so. I'm currently 19 years old. The situation is utterly baffling. As an adult, I am entitled to make my own decisions and live my own life. My father attempted to manipulate me, suggesting that my departure would have a negative impact on my mother, sisters, and himself. However, my two sisters, aged 21 and 16, are more than capable of managing on their own. They are mature individuals who can take care of themselves. I'm curious to learn how typical parents react to their 19-year-old children seeking independence. It would be enlightening to understand the normal course of events, as my father's response has left me perplexed. Edit. Thanks for sharing your stories, advice, and perspectives. It's heartwarming to feel support.